Good evening. I want to call the Select Board meeting for Monday, July 8th to order. We are going into executive session at 5:30 now, and we will return no sooner than 6 p.m. One note I did want to make was in terms of under old business, discussion on Seth Whitefield Road and Round Cove Road paving. It is for filling in potholes and maintenance. Just to be clear, it is not about paving both of those roads.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I move that we enter into executive session pursuant to General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21A2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel and to conduct contract negotiations with non-union personnel, the Finance Director, as well as pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 38, 21A7, to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law or federal grant in aid requirements, the open meeting law, Mass General Law, Chapter 38, 22F and G, to review and approve and or discuss the possible release of executive session meeting minutes dated May 2024, May 28, 2024, June 10, 2024, June 17, 2024, and June 24, 2024.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Don?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Julie? I'm an aye.
We'll be back.
Evening, I'm calling the Select Board meeting back to order. We were in executive session earlier this evening, and we did take positive action on item A, and on item B, we also took action on approving those minutes, not releasing them. And now, if you will join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All these people come out to town meeting, Madam Chair. This is great.
Before we start the meeting as required by open meeting law, you are hereby informed the town will be video and audio taping as well as live broadcasting this public meeting. In addition, anyone in the audience who plans to video or audio tape this meeting must notify the chair prior to the start of the meeting. One other item I just want to call your attention to is under new business, under old business, item A, discussion on Seth Whitefield Road and Round Cove Road paving. That is for filling in of potholes and maintenance. It is not paving both roads. So I just want to make that clarification for anybody who might be here for that item. Moving on to public comments and announcements. Do we have anyone for?
I actually have a procedural question first. Megan Smith, Harwich Center. I know that this is the standard part for public comment, obviously. There's going to be a presentation coming up for the cafe, and I was curious, will the board entertain public comment at that time as part of the discussion, or should it be shared now?
So we will have comment at that time.
Public comment?
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else for public comment and announcement? Chief?
Good evening, Kevin Constein, Police Chief. It's a long walk from over there, so I hope through the back way. I just wanted to report on our 4th of July. We actually had a very successful 4th of July at the Police Department. We were busy. I think everybody saw the amount of traffic in town. We were very busy with crashes, a lot of people around. Happy to say nothing major.
Wonderful.
And that includes other towns too. So we're very happy about that. I just want to thank all the men and women of the police department who worked doubles. We had a blackout period. Everybody had to work, including myself. So we were there. They worked extremely hard for the town. Worked doubles, long shifts on the beach. And we also had success on the beach for the 3rd year in a row, particularly Bank Street Beach. So just wanted to report that and thank the men and women of the department.
Thank you. Thanks to all the men and women of the department, because it was a lot of people this weekend. And I wonder if you text our former chief to say how happy you were to be working.
It was very quiet. It was very quiet from him. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name's John Carey. I was the one that bought the West Harwich School a couple of years ago from the town. I wanted to give you guys a couple updates. Again, I want to start with a thank you for your support in selling the property. And it took a year to get it permitted. It took a year to get financing together, and now we're building 10 year-round housing units for the town. And so it's going fine. We started construction about a month ago. Jamie Klein, a local Harwich guy, lifted it up and put a new foundation on it, so now it's solid for another 100 years. So one of the first things I have a bunch of historical documents that we found in the property. We have a lot of pictures from the 70s and 80s, and I wanted to know if the town had somebody they could recommend that could come and take all the documents and make sure it gets to the right people, because there's no reason for me to have them.
Wow, that's amazing.
So this is a book from Charlie Chase from 1876, 5 years after the school was opened. Charlie is the great-grandson of Job Chase, who started all of West Harwich. So there's some great stuff. It's mostly writing documents, but I thought it'd be good to pass on to you guys.
That'd be terrific, yeah. I'm sure we can make sure they get taken care of
Yeah.
properly.
From a status standpoint, we're underway. I expect the first building to be done sometime after the new year, and then the second building, I'm waiting on a set of plans, then I'll be submitting for permit, and hopefully both wrap up next April, and we'll have them occupied with Cape Codders, year-round Cape Codders. So that's all good. One issue we did run into, I'm still trying to work through it, is a document I passed around 4 copies. I can get you guys more of them. We always knew we needed to bring water to the site. The old site had a well. You can't continue using a well. So kind of through due diligence, we found that there's an 8-inch water meter in my neighbor's property. 8 inches, gigantic. But they don't want to give me access, which is 22 feet from the building. So our only other path is to go 300 feet across Bell's Neck and then across Depot Road. And the problem with that is obviously destroying 2 roads that would then have to be patched is a long-term issue. So I was wondering if I could petition or ask the select board if they could write a letter of support or some type of document saying the importance of this project and try to get some support behind this thing, and try to work out something so we can just go 22 feet through dirt in a dirt road as opposed to ripping up 2 town roads, shutting down, using resources, and then ultimately having a road that's not as high quality as a undisturbed road.
So I think that this board, and I don't want to speak for the board, so other members can speak as well, but I think that you've given us this document. It's obviously not on our agenda, but we can certainly look at it internally and then bring it back. But anything that we could do to alleviate that, to help you with your housing
Yeah,
units is
so
imperative.
it's like 12, 13 grand to go through dirt to move a water line 22 feet versus 75, 85, $100,000 to go 300 feet,
Right.
disturbing roads, police, it just seems like all these costs get passed on to renters, and we're trying to build a product as cheap as possible. Everyone has asked me to price it as cheap as possible. So an extra 100 grand when you can spend, 12, just seems like something the town, and it's town water. We're providing the water. So it seems like there should be a way that the community could say, this is important to us. Let's all work together in sharing town water. It's not like it's a well.
Yeah, and I, in terms of the legalese, in terms of creating an easement, et cetera, I don't know that we can
Yeah.
mandate that, but we can certainly talk about it internally. Do other board members have any comments on the subject?
I'll wait to hear Michael's comments, Madam
I
Chair.
was going to defer to Jeff.
Well, I'll say thank you for coming in, John. Thank you for putting your neck out there and starting what I think is going to be a great project for Harwich, a much-needed project for Harwich. It doesn't sit well that there's not a cooperative effort between all parties in that area to allow you to do this in a way that's the least disruptive to the town roads, the town resources, your wallet. I'm sensitive to that because obviously the financial part of this gets passed on to the people who are going to be renting, as you so well put it. So I would be in support of writing a letter, if that's appropriate. If that's something that this board can do, I would be in support of doing it. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael?
Just say that I would agree with Jeff. The project looks great. It's nice to finally see something happening there. We've been looking at a big red X for an awful long time.
Took a bit.
So it's really, really, really nice to see it, and prior to the project being permitted and approved, I understand why they took the position they did, but it is now approved and it's happening. So this is just
Yeah.
to cost money on a project that we're building affordable units for people that
We're
live
hoping
and
to-
work in our community. So I certainly would support it.
Thank you, Michael. Don, did you have anything?
Thank you, Madam Chair, for recognizing it's not on the agenda.
Right.
That being said, I went by the place about 4 or 5 days ago. You're doing a great job. It looks like you're well on your way. Hopefully, we can resolve
It's tricky, yeah.
the problem.
It's a complicated project, but I'm excited. I'm hoping we get these online and do more, because I'm a big housing advocate. The more we build, the better it is for the community, the stronger the community will be.
Well, you're
So-
surely working on it.
Yeah, so we're trying.
So we'll be back in touch with you.
And if somebody from Historic wants to reach out and you guys want me to move in there,
Yeah, do you
pictures,
want to-
documents, all types of stuff.
Okay.
Do you have more over at the site?
Yeah, I got maybe 30 of them.
As long as none of them are pictures of myself from the early 80s in there, then we'll be fine. So, yeah.
At the youth center.
For clarification, that's 1980s, not 1880s.
Not 1880s.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Sherry Stockdale, and I also came to talk about affordable housing, but a very different kind of affordable housing than the last gentleman spoke about. In the interest of brevity and clarity, I'm going to read a prepared statement that I've written. With the recent purchase of number 55 and 57 Queen Anne Road, the Pine Oaks Village Homes Group has secured its entrance to the proposed Pine Oaks 4 housing complex and brought this project one step closer to fruition. I'm here to speak tonight because I'm not sure people realize how enormous this development will be if it goes ahead as proposed. If the Pine Oaks Village 4 moves ahead in its proposed capacity, the residents of the Queen Anne Main Street area of North Harwich will be getting about 1,000 new neighbors. Pine Oaks 4 is a big box housing unit project which is nothing like Pine Oaks Village 1 and Pine Oaks Village 2 off Bank Street, with 60 single-story units and 38 single-story units respectively, or Pine Oaks 3 off of Oak Street, which has 65 ground-level homes. Pine Oaks 1, 2, and 3 in Harwich are all single-story. The proposed Pine Oaks 4 is an enormous group of apartment complexes, most being 3 stories tall. Pine Oaks 4 has proposed 285 units with a mixture of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. For comparison purposes, this is more units than the recently built Everly on Independence Drive in Hyannis, which has 225 units. Keep in mind, up to 6 people can live in a 3-bedroom unit. The footprint of this project, including the clear-cutting, multiple building footprints, and parking spaces, is enormous. Each unit is projected to have 1.5 cars. This will mean 450 total parking spaces for residents and faculty combined. For comparison purposes, the parking lot at Marconi Beach and Wellfleet has 500 spaces. Because of the enormity of this project, the building of it will take place in phases over many years, with construction, noise, and work truck traffic becoming part of the daily life for residents in the area. Add to that the traffic challenges caused by 1,000 new residents over time, with the accompanying influx of cars, bicycles, walkers on narrow roads where drivers speed 80% of the time, according to Pine Oak Village's own traffic study. This area will also see an influx of traffic from the housing being built on the Marceline property and the traffic from Eagle Pond, whose only access is at the intersection of Main Street and Depot Road. You are asking the people of this area to put up with a lot. I came tonight to speak mostly of the size and impact, but it's worth mentioning that these are all rental units, not starter homes, with no chance for people to build equity. I can see why it's easy for our town officials to get on board with this project, as it helps the town to meet its quota of affordable housing, but this is not a typical Pine Oaks village. Please do better for the current and future residents of Harwich. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment and announcements?
If no one else is, thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to close the loop on a few residents who had some concerns regarding some of the interdepartmental transfers. And I'm doing it now versus at the end because not everybody watches to the end. In respect to the $4,000 of total legal services for the dog hearing, I would like to go on record by stating that I personally looked into this, have the documents here, and what I found is that the billable hours and the explanation of such are reasonable and accurate to the penny. And I'm happy to talk to anybody who needs any further clarification on those questions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Hearing, anyone else for public comment and announcement?
I have a comment on remote.
Hi, Michael. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. I have someone going to the podium. Patrick?
Or I'm glad to wait.
Yeah, hello, Patrick Otten, East Harwich. I just wanted to make the comment on one of your agenda items about paving roads in, near Hawks Nest.
So-
And I'm going to remind you of a quote that,
Patrick, I just want to let you know, because you walked in late, so.
I'm sorry.
I made the comment prior to you walking in. No, I just want to let you
Oh.
know that I made the comment that the item under Old Business A, discussion on Seth Whitefield and Round Cove Road paving, was about filling in potholes and road maintenance, just to be clear,
okay.
because I think there is some confusion in the public that thought it was about paving both of those roads.
okay, fair.
So-
That was my concern, okay.
So,
I was just going to remind you of Joni Mitchell's comment, you don't know what you've got until it's gone. Paved nature, what was it, paved?
paved paradise. put up a
Paradise
parking
and
lot. Yep.
put in a parking lot. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Michael? Michael Locke?
Yes, thank you. Michael Locke, Executive Director of the Harwich Conservation Trust. I want to thank the Select Board, the Community Preservation Committee, the Conservation Commission, and the town's Real Estate and Open Space Committee, and specifically Town Conservation Administrator Amy Wazowski and Town Administrator Joe Powers for helping in a partnership with Harwich Conservation Trust, bring the 5-acre Bells Neck Road Herring River land acquisition project across the finish line last week. Certainly something to celebrate. Is it possible for me to share my screen briefly, or no? If no, that's okay.
Matt, are you able to? Okay, hold on one second.
All right, Mike, go for it.
Everybody see this aerial?
Yes.
Yeah, so this gives you a good sense from a bird's eye view, the flow of the Herring River you see there, and the stretch of forest along more than 2.5 soccer field lengths along Bells Neck Road, as Bells Neck Road extends from Route 28 north up into the town's Bells Neck conservation area, and then over 1,100 feet of salt marsh shoreline. Quite an important acquisition to continue protecting the Herring River. As we know, it's suffering some water quality issues because of septic system nutrient loading. You can see the importance of preserving this land that's colored in red. To the south is town-owned conservation land with an 1800s era cemetery. So there's a historic cultural aspect to this project as well. And just last week, here's members of those boards and town staff that I mentioned earlier, all gathering in support of this. Once again, another successful partnership project. Thank you all very much for making this project happen.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you for all your hard work on it as well. Anybody else for public comment and announcement?
Hi, good evening. My name is Julie Wittes. I'm the Director of the Council on Aging. I'm here tonight actually just to tell you about some of our activities that are happening in July and August, to invite the public to attend. I was at a meeting when the Director of the Cultural, when they did this for the 204, and I found that to be very helpful. So I thought I might try to get the word out about some of the things that we're doing for the summer, and hopefully we'll see a few more friendly faces come through our doors. So first of all, some general announcements for what we're doing this summer. We just started a new tablet loan program. So we now have 3 Android tablets that anyone can come and use on site. We're not yet checking them out to let people take them home, but you can come and use them on site for up to an hour a day, and we can extend that if the demand allows for us to do that. You can schedule a time to use them, you can just walk in to use them, either way is fine. And you can also schedule a time to use these along with booking one of our private rooms so that you can schedule a virtual appointment with your doctor or therapist or something like that. And this is a great program to use in partnership with our peer tech support program for those who are looking to improve their tech skills. So if you've got any questions about those, you can give us a call and we'll walk you through how to access those services. One of the programs that we're beginning in August, but will be a continuing service, starting on Wednesday, August 7th. This will happen from 2 to 3:30 in the afternoons every Wednesday, starting August 7th. We have a new dementia caregiver support group starting. This is going to be run by the Alzheimer's Family Support Center. It will be a support group that's facilitated by a social worker. It's open to anyone who is caregiving for a loved one with dementia, Alzheimer's disease, or any other form of cognitive decline. And while the support group is running and the caregivers are meeting, their loved ones will be engaged in a companion group where they'll be engaged in activities that are run and facilitated by experienced, compassionate, and dementia-trained staff. So there's a safe activity for them to be meeting in as well. So this is a great opportunity to come out and get some self-care for yourself, fill your cup, while your loved one is also getting something, having some activity done for themselves that they are being able to get some experience with as well. So in July, our special programs, our one-time programs that we're having are, we have on July 11th, a Paintworks paint party. So this is a social painting class where you're gonna make a beach scene and also talk with folks while you're doing that. Everything is provided for you. There's no cost to Harwich residents. On July 12th, we have a tick talk to learn how to be safe and protect yourself from getting bit by ticks and what to do if you do find one. On July 15th, we have a Stop the Bleed event. So this teaches people how to identify life-threatening bleeding events and how to provide the critical life-saving care that they need until rescue arrives. On Friday, July 19th, we have our movie day, and we'll be screening The Beach Boys that day. On Tuesday, July 16th, we have an event that we're calling Proxies and Pizza. This is part 2 of a program that we held in May where we went over healthcare proxies and some other essential healthcare documents. Our town nurse, Sue Giselle, facilitates this. It was very successful and people wanted to come back for a little bit more detail. So anyone who attended that or wants to come for the first time is welcome to. We're going to do a review of healthcare proxies again, but then also get into more, some more healthcare forms such as living wills, something called the 5 Wishes form, and what the MOST form is, which is the Massachusetts Orders for Life-Sustaining Treatment. And that's what some people think of as a do not resuscitate order. So Sue's going to explain what the differences for all of those things are, how you put them into place, and how you make sure that they're respected. And of course, we're going to have pizza while we do it. On July 25th, we have our Beyond the Book program, and Judy Lannon is going to be our guest speaker that day. So she is an award-winning Cape Cod-based author. Judy's going to visit and discuss her recent publication, The Making of Genevieve, which is a follow-up to her popular novel, 9 Days. Judy came to see us last summer, and it was a very popular event, so we're hoping that her fans will come back and visit us again. And then the last Friday of the month, as usual, we have our craft workshop in July. And in July, we're going to be making watercolor postcards. For August, we've got another slate of events. Starting with August 1st, we have a line dancing party. So it's going to start with our instructor, Kathy Hatch, teaching folks some simple moves, and then we'll turn the music on and let people go. August 8th, we have the Harwich Junior Theater coming to do a performance of one of their something that they wrote themselves, and they're performing for us. This is one of our intergenerational programs, so we're encouraging our COA members to bring their grandkids or any other young family members that they would like to bring, or just simply come and feel young at heart for a day. The rec department's summer camp kids are also going to join us for that, so if you don't have a grandkid to to bring along. There will be plenty of kids in the audience to watch them enjoy the show as well. August, our breakfast programs return. So Friday, August 9th, we have our men's breakfast, and then Friday, August 23rd is our women's breakfast. On August 9th, we also have a cooking for 1 or 2 demonstration. August 16th, a week later, is our movie day, which is our almost completely true love story, which sounds really cute. I am hoping I'll get a chance to see that, even if I probably won't make it. Monday, August 19th, and also Thursday, August 22nd. Both of those days, we're hosting the Floating Classroom, which is in partnership with Pleasant Bay Community Boating. So we partner with them every year to help get folks out on the bay in a sailing program. So this year, we'll have the opportunity to put over 40 of our COA members out on Pleasant Bay, taking a cruise around the bay on one of their, what they call it the Floating Classroom. So it's a 37-foot pontoon boat that is solar powered, and it sounds really fun. And I tried it a couple years ago, and it is really impressive. So we're hoping that people can turn out for that. And then finally, we close the month with, on August 27th, with travel tips from Karen. So if you want to think about some fall trips that you want to take, you can come and learn what she has to say about travel trends and tips and like packing and things like that. So all these are free. The one exception is the sailing trip, which has a $5 cost, but we can waive that if it's a hardship for anybody. So we hope that people will come out and join us for some of these events.
Great. And do they all require registration?
We do ask for registration because some things do fill up, especially in the summer. So if you can sign up ahead of time, if you want to try your luck and see if you get a spot, we're welcome. We're happy to accommodate you if we can.
Okay.
The one thing we know is going to fill up, though, is the sailing trip. So that is like a must. You've got to sign up ahead of time.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Wonderful programs. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Public comment and announcement? Okay.
Before you get into that,
Oh, what?
if you could hold off the 24th so we could have a separate discussion on that.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair, and I move that we approve the Select Board meeting minutes for June 17th. I also move that we vote to approve the Assistant Town Administrator's recommendation to grant permission by NSTAR Electric, DBA Eversource Energy, to install a 30-foot plus or minus of a 1 to 3 inch conduit from an existing pole 56-11 to 14 Atlantic Street, as well as vote to approve the Assistant Town Administrator's recommendation to grant permission by NSTAR Electric, DBA Eversource Energy, to install a new manhole, number 218/20, 913 feet plus or minus, a 9 to 6 inch conduit, and 280 feet plus or minus of 2 to 6 inch conduit in the right-of-way of Lothrop Ave and Gilbert Lane, as well as move to approve the Assistant Town Administrator's recommendation to grant permission by NSTAR Electric, DBA Eversource Energy, to install one manhole, 1021/210 and 738 feet, plus or minus a 4 to 6 inch conduit in the right-of-way of Lothrop Ave. And lastly, mercifully, to vote to approve the Assistant Town Administrator's recommendation to grant permission by NSTAR Electric, DBA Eversource Energy, to install 40 feet of plus or minus 1 to 3 inch conduit from an existing handhole, 10-225-020D, to proposed handhole 10-225/020E on Bova Code Road.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. I move that we approve the Select Board meeting minutes for June 24th, 2024.
Yeah, he wants to.
Okay, I thought you wanted a motion first.
Actually, no, until I get this clarified. Kathleen, did I notice you back there?
Can you come up, Kathleen, to the podium? Or the seats, whichever you like.
The pages on this aren't numbered, so it's going to wind up being page 28 out of the agenda packet. This isn't about you specifically, but people keep getting these two things conflated. The Cape Cod Commission doesn't act for the county, and the county doesn't act for the Cape Cod Commission. They're two separate entities. And I can't remember for the life of me because it's out of context here. When we made the transfer, was that because the rate was changed by the county, or was that the Cape Cod Commission?
I would have
Well, interdepartmental transfer, because I made the comment that they don't give you a solid number until along the way, and I thought it was the county we were getting the service from.
There's both. So in order to, not knowing that was going to be a question, I can do the research and get back to you on that one.
It's kind of important because ultimately, everybody gets confused in this already. I really don't think it's the county. I'd rather get that verified.
So you want to hold 24?
Yeah, because
Till next meeting?
the commission is a different thing from the county.
Okay, so we'll hold the June 24th, 2024
Certainly.
minutes until
Thank you.
next meeting, which isn't until the 22nd.
Sure.
And it's just that one question. Was it really the commission, or was it just the county that we were getting the service from?
Okay. Certainly, yes, I will have that. I have some other topics for that meeting as well. We'll incorporate it.
Thanks.
Thank you, Kathleen. So we're done with those items, then consent agenda. And Joe, that was 4-0.
Thank you.
Presentations, and Jeff, I'll hand this to you.
Thank you. Sean and Pauline, if you'd like to come up and have a seat. So, thank you, Madam Chair, for getting this on the agenda so quickly. Last week, I received a text from Shauna. Is that how you pronounce it? Shauna, Shana?
No, it's Shayna.
Shana. Thank you. And Shana reached out to ask me if I would be interested in having a conversation about an idea that she has. And I was so moved by the end of that hour that I just feel like I need to say a couple of words about that. You know, I always knew that we lived in an incredible community with incredible people. And you just don't know how many heroes are just walking around you all day long, how many you pass, and how many that you see that you don't realize are giving so much of themselves, so much to the community, so much of their time away from their families. This blew me away. So I asked immediately our chair, Julie Kavanaugh, here to put this on an agenda so that we can get the ball rolling. So with that, I'm going to hold the rest of my comments, and I'm going to let the two presenters, which is Shana and Pauline, who I've had the pleasure to meet as well, Pauline, the other day. I'm going to let them take it from here and tell us everything that they have to say. So thank you both so much for being here. And I know you have a presentation, so Matt, can we get that up on the board if you don't mind?
Did we have it emailed to us?
It's in the packet. I don't know if that matters.
Was it emailed to a website or was it giving a USB drive? Was it on there?
I don't believe so.
Okay, I don't have it on the computer.
Okay,
The packet's a PDF.
Yeah, the packet is.
okay.
PDF.
So I'm going to have you go forward with your presentation. People can find the packet in our agenda book, on our weekly agenda.
Sure,
So thank you, and I'm sorry for that.
that's quite all right. It happens. All right, so am I all set?
You are ready to go. Take it away.
So, hello, and first off, I would like to thank the Town of Harwich Select Board for placing us on this agenda today. And a special thanks to Jeff Handler for seeing our vision and supporting us thus far. I wholeheartedly believe and promise that this presentation that you can find in the minutes is worth your time, I promise. So my name is Shana Grogan, and I'm a resident of Harwich Port. A little background about me is that I have been teaching individuals with moderate to severe intellectual, developmental, and physical disabilities for 24 years. In my role as the Shore postgraduate teacher at Monomoy High School, I have been successful in implementing many programs such as Unified Sports, Shore Landscaping, Jocelyn Java, and the All Cape Cod Special Olympics that hosts roughly 500 students from all of Cape with special needs. In addition to my teaching career, I have successfully started a business called Special Abilities Fitness, where I have over 20 athletes, and I've also partnered with the Pleasant Bay Community Boating to enhance their adaptive sailing program. Now I'm ready to take on another lifelong dream of mine in all my free time with a very dear friend and colleague, Pauline Linnell.
Good evening. My name is Pauline Linnell. This is my daughter right there with a purple shirt. What's your name? Her name is Stella Linnell. So I've been a teacher. This is going to be.
She was also our cheerleader for our unified sports.
So I've been a teacher in the Harwich community since 2018. My daughter Stella will be 17 in October. She has what would be considered moderate to severe autism. As you know, individuals with autism, as well as Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, and intellectual disabilities are offered school support until their 22nd birthday. And then what? This is why we're here today. So today, Shana and I are here because we want to make a difference in the lives of these adults with different abilities. These individuals, they want to live a meaningful life just like the rest of us. To provide employment opportunities for adults with intellectual and physical disabilities in a welcoming and inclusive environment, that's our mission. As you may know, individuals with autism and other related disabilities are provided a very well-structured school program that is 100% supportive until their 22nd birthday. But then, nothing happens. And then they fall into a black hole. Statistics show from the US Census Bureau show that only 19% of working age adults with developmental disabilities are employed. 19.
Next slide.
So my daughter here, Stella, has been the biggest inspiration in my life. Through her, I have developed strong connections, right here, with the community, made new friends, particularly families with teenagers and young adults with special needs. As the kids become adults, Shena and I can see firsthand the challenges that they face in finding meaningful employment opportunities. By opening a Special Friends Cafe, we aim to provide a supportive and inclusive workplace where individuals like Stella and her peers can gain valuable job experience, build confidence, and feel a sense of accomplishment. This isn't just about offering jobs. This is about creating a space where everyone is valued for their unique contributions. We believe this initiative will not only enrich the lives of our employees, but also foster a more inclusive and understanding community in Harwich.
So our commitment is to the Cape Cod special needs community. And through this cafe, we will foster a supportive and an engaging environment where all individuals can showcase their talents, build confidence, and achieve their fullest potential. We also have so many talented artists among this group of individuals, such as Jax and Liam, and those two, they have a personal dream of becoming an artist. And through this cafe, we can showcase their artwork, and they can actually be full-fledged artists and sell their artwork.
So, because numbers are important, we would like to reiterate that in the US, only about 19% of adults with developmental disabilities are employed in a competitive job in the community. With the autism diagnosis on the rise, with a 317% increase since 2010, and 1 in 4 of those diagnosed having profound autism. We as a community need to do more for these families.
So when Pauline and I sat down to create this 40-plus page document that we have here for our business plan, several keywords always came to surface, and it was empowerment, inclusivity, community, and acceptance. Through this business, we are able to provide a meaningful employment opportunities for individuals with disabilities where they can gain valuable skills, confidence, and some financial independence. Our cafe will be designed to be inclusive and welcoming to everyone. It's a place where differences are celebrated and friendships are formed. By supporting the Special Friends Cafe, you will contribute to the local community in such a meaningful and powerful way. Your patronage will help us expand our outreach and create even more opportunities for adults with intellectual disabilities. And lastly, we believe in raising awareness and about the abilities and the endless potential of individuals with disabilities. Through our cafe, we aim to educate the public, promote acceptance by building more of an inclusive community, one cup of coffee at a time. That's our little slogan. Would have been really cute on a slide. And then just to kind of carry on, when I first approached my friends and colleagues about coming here tonight, many of them asked us, what's the point? Why are you possibly going in front of the board? My answer was quite simple. Pauline and I want the support and the encouragement from the community. We can't do this just the two of us, and we clearly have our backing and our support, but we just want it more from the community as well. We are opening this cafe as a 501 nonprofit organization. We are not looking to become millionaires off of this endeavor, but we do want to provide stable employment for the growing population. This unique business plan can meet the needs of every individual with a disability. Whether they work for 10 minutes, 3 hours, or 20 hours a week, we will provide training support to ensure that they have fulfilling lives and can answer that inevitable question of, where do you work with pride? So thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so if there are, so we're just going to try to limit it to a certain amount of public comment, but if we have anybody who would like to speak on the cafe proposal?
Do we stay here?
Hi, Megan Smith, Harwich Center. When I heard about this through Facebook, I thought it's just an amazing opportunity. And while I don't know Shana personally, I do work next door to a kindergarten teacher that she visits weekly. And to see Shana bringing in some of her students and working with those kindergarten students and providing that opportunity for those kindergarten students for exposure to people of different abilities is just amazing. But I wanted to add that my nephew attended Riverview School, which is for students with special abilities. And when he graduated high school, he transferred into their adult program, and I don't know what the program is named, but there they have the Riverview Cafe, and it reminded me of this program. And he told me that working at the Riverview Cafe was the best opportunity he ever had, because he was appreciated for him. He wasn't looked at as being different. He wasn't looked down upon. He was just a member of his peers, working hard. And the people who came to that cafe also knew what they were getting into. So they were patient. The clients were patient. The customers were patient at the cafe. And it was just such a great opportunity for people on both sides of the table or both sides of that dining counter, and such great exposure that I strongly hope that this entire community supports such a program. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Julie Santoni. I'm here tonight as a 30-year teacher and a parent of a recent graduate. Are you crying? Who graduated with a severe special education degree. She has had the privilege. I don't know. I don't know. Rory, can you come up here with me? Rory, come here. Come here, I need you. I need you. She has had the privilege, and I say privilege seriously, of working with this amazing group of individuals since she was in high school. I also come as a member of the executive board of the Harwich Mariners, where many, I think everybody here, Rory is a regular, Claire is a regular, have interned during home games. Many were there to help last year during the record-breaking All-Star game. These young individuals have a drive and energy that is unmatched. Their positivity and desire to be part of the community is something we should all experience. Sorry. This is why we love it. Why we love it. I know that this project will give back to the town more than can be imagined. I fully support and am hoping to help in every way possible.
Thank you.
Thank
Sorry.
you very much.
So forgive me, I did write this in writing. My name is Michelle Canto, and I am the mother of a 22-year-old son who has autism. Justice graduated Monomoy in 2022, and I can't say enough about the support that Justice received during his years that he attended Monomoy. It was there that they helped him dream of attending college, and this past May, he just graduated with his associate's degree in business and a certificate in digital media and web design. But now what? He is a gracious and genuine young man, but not quite your typical peer. His interviews have been anxiety-provoking. He's applied at several teller positions and looking to get out into the community. But the interviews are anxiety-provoking, and it's always a struggle of how or if you tell a potential employer of his diagnosis. Thankfully, he's been seasonally employed at Cranberry Valley for the past 7 summers. And although he loves it there, that's not his dream. But speaking of dreams, that's where Shana Grogan comes in. She is my friend and has thankfully been Justice's teacher several times throughout his years at Monomoy. I have always admired her for her ability to make dreams come true. That began with her dreams for my son in middle school. He started middle school barely able to read a street sign or a menu. He left there reading books, menus, and so much more. She never gave up until she found the right formula for him to learn. She's always thinking outside the box, just like most of her kids, they don't fit in a box. When she moved to the high school, I knew she was in her element. She has always talked about her dreams to see older kids live typical lives. I have watched her create integrated sports, the Shore program at the high school, and thrive with her special abilities fitness outside of school, all of which have given her kids a time to be typical and to have fun doing it. When she approached me to help with the creation of the Special Friends Cafe, it was a very easy yes. I knew it was her lifelong dream to open this business. I knew that whatever she set her mind to, she will accomplish. Special needs adults face a number of challenges when it comes to obtaining employment. These individuals often have unique abilities and skills that can contribute positively to a workplace, but unfortunately, they are often overlooked or misunderstood by employers. By supporting and creating opportunities like this, we can break down barriers and provide equal opportunity employments for all of them.
Thank you.
Good evening. I too learned of this on Facebook, and I'm thrilled I did. My name's Tracy Fraser, and I live in Harwichport. I'm here tonight as someone who has a background in education and a lifetime of experience working with individuals with disabilities. I have 2 family members, and one who attended Riverview also. So, I'm here tonight to pledge my support, 100% of my support behind this project. I've spent the better part of the past decade directing Capabilities Farm, a social enterprise here on Cape Cod, and based upon that experience, give this experience or this opportunity a full endorsement. Everything that I think I've heard parents and teachers share in terms of that opportunity to provide someone that support makes the difference. But I think also I want to take it from a little different perspective of a business perspective and what the impact on the community can be. You know, I'm confident the benefits of social entrepreneurs, businesses that are driven by a mission in addition to profit, truly create positive change in the world. Social entrepreneurships create shared value by addressing the societal challenges that we face. Someone mentioned about the increasing rise of the number of individuals living with autism. And it also allows us to look at innovative business models. And such social enterprises contribute to a sense of identity or branding of your community, branding of your values. My experiences allows me to reflect on the ability to combine entrepreneurial principles with a mission to address social and community challenges. My perceptions include improving community perceptions, as in the case of a Special Friends Cafe, and allowing the community to develop an understanding of the skills and abilities that individuals who live with disabilities possess. Such a business demonstrates its a social responsibility. It allows their patrons to see their values mirrored positively, and it really buys into a community buy-in. Social enterprises create an icon, and it reflects on the values of the community. It would reflect on the values of Harwich. It offers vocational wellness to a community, and by that I mean an impact in enriching the lives of residents, and not just individuals who live with disabilities. Wellness can be defined in many ways. I think of it in this case in terms of relation of potentially enhancing someone's mental, emotional well-being by having that opportunity to work, by having that inclusive environment. Social, the opportunity to be engaged in your community. Financial, spiritual, and certainly the vocational need. It also, inclusive hiring provides careers, not just jobs for individuals who live with disabilities, but the potential to serve as a business and an incubator as a training program to develop a motivated labor pool. One of my favorite examples is a program in Vermont. It's called Andy's Dandies, and Andy is a 30-some-odd-year-old young man who lives with Down syndrome. When he was a child, he loved to bake, he loved to read recipe books, and he loved his dog. And his parents put all the pieces together, and they now wholesale dog biscuits to over 200 businesses coast to coast. They also then have a training program within their business for additional adults. And his sister, who was a special education teacher, is now the training coordinator in that business. So the potential is endless. I think, in summary, social entrepreneurship is important. It can offer new and effective ways for us to solve challenges that our communities face. It can help us address things as inequality, inclusiveness, poverty, health, education concerns, human rights. It helps reshape what businesses look like. It creates value for both the society and business by generating social impact as well as financial returns, and it inspires and empowers people, especially those underserved, to participate in the economy or contribute to the economy and participate in society. So, thank you for your efforts.
Hi, my name is Christy Laidlaw, and this made it a little hard for me. I live in Harwich Center, and my daughter Claire has intellectual disabilities. And I just wanted to say, just wanted to speak to how grateful we are to Harwich and all they have done to help us take care of Claire. She has been enrolled in the Monomoy School District since preschool and just graduated from high school this May. So we're really proud of her and all she has accomplished. She'll be attending the postgraduate program at the high school with Mrs. Grogan and continues on learning job training schools and life skills in that program. And, but this program will continue until the day before she turns 22. The group of moms surrounding the kids in Mrs. Grogan's Shore program and the SAIL program, we've become close, supporting each other, you know, trying to help each other with through the ups and downs and the best we can together. And our mom groups, we call the kids' 22nd birthday the Cliff, because there's not much support on the other side. There are programs that are inclusive, that are Cape-wide. They are stretched. There is so much need on the Cape that there isn't necessarily opportunities for all our kids. And what our kids really need is consistency. They need structure. And so that's really hard outside of the school setting for us to provide. So I'm really looking forward to, I'm hoping that this program can help give some structure and give kids some purpose and where they can feel useful and productive. I just want to say that I have 553 days until we go off that cliff. And in that time, I hope we can build a better place for our kids to go, to be together, and to feel useful and productive. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Kevin Considine, Police Chief. Keep this very brief. I wanted everybody else to go first. Shana and Pauline, thank you. I just wanted to echo what Jeff said as well. You know, who we have in our community is amazing. Shana worked together for a long time with Special Olympics. I'm on the Law Enforcement Torch Council Executive Council for 3 years and 12 years in Special Olympics and raising funds and awareness for athletes in Special Olympics. But personally, all these years, I've always thought that something like this actually lacked, that we didn't have enough of this. So it was great to see this tonight and a lot of familiar faces. So great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. So I'm going to open it up to board members with any questions, and I'll start with Michael.
Start with Jeff.
He brought it to us, so I'm going to...
I'll start.
All right.
So I have 27 more letters of support, and I'm just going to read them all right now. No, I'm just kidding. 27 more letters of support. I think that speaks volumes, and I will not yield to Select Board Member McCaskill because I'd like to finish this up with my final ask of this board and town administration. So I'm going to let you ask your questions.
It's an amazing presentation. Sorry it wasn't communicated to send it in.
It's quite all right.
I would first ask if administration can see to it that we put this on the website. There's some asks in there, and I think as this gets out in the Chronicle, I'm sure this week, it'd be great to direct them to that presentation. And then I would just ask, where do we start?
Thank you.
Certainly, some of the asks in there are something that I can help with, but, and I think that's where Jeff's going, which is why I wanted to start with him. I support this 100% and think that there's a lot that this board and this town can do for you.
Thank you.
Tom?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree with those folks. This is amazingly, it's amazing what you've done. However, I'm kind of like a results-oriented kind of guy. So I guess my question is, so the public actually understands. You walk out of this room tonight, and what's the next thing you would like to see happen?
Sure. Would you like me to? Sure. So what we want to go from here is we honestly need almost like a checklist. You need to meet with this Board of Health. You need to meet with this person, this person, this person. What are the bylaws? What are the labor laws? All those things that Pauline and I necessarily aren't engrossed in. You want me to train someone with special needs? I gotcha. I can do that sort of stuff. You want me to regurgitate what a law is? I don't have that. So that is where we really need the support and the help and the guidance. And we're very transparent about that. We are going in this with our heart on our sleeves. And all we can do is hope and pray that we can make this the most beautiful endeavor we can for these beautiful individuals behind me. But with that being said, I reached out to Cindy. She's already on board to help me out. We've been in contact with a bunch of mentors and lawyers and accountants, so we have everything going. I do have it's a 40-something page business plan that Jeff kind of bumped ahead everything. So when we met with him, he's like, we're getting you on the agenda. So there are some questions that we are assuming that you would ask that we don't have the answers to right now. But all I'm saying is it's right now. It's not a forever thing. Any question that we have coming at us that we don't know from either you or the public, we will research and we'll find the answer and we will persevere until we figure out what the best approach is. But
Shane, if I may,
Yes.
just to jump in, to Dawn's point, and I'm going to speak for you both right now, and correct me if I'm wrong. You ask a really great question. And I think the ask here, at least as I understand it, is these two incredible people are going to do this, whether it be by renting a private business space or somehow working with the town, utilizing one of the two kitchens that we potentially have available for our community, which one would be at the 204 and one would be at the community center. And I think that's what your ask is here, is there a way for you all to use community resources to be part of what you're asking or trying to accomplish? Is that a fair statement?
yes.
Does that help?
Yeah, and actually, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, because
I just felt like I
It
was a
was
little sassy
no,
to
it's
say
just
that
a
one, so I liked him saying it.
for me, it's just a question of, okay, I want to go on a road trip, and here's where I want to go. We can help you develop the map to get to where you want to go. We just need to know aspirationally, okay, what is it you're going to end up looking like, and how can we help you navigate everything?
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, we have like our early plans on something we can do to get things up and running now. And then we have our long-term plans where I told Pauline, I go, when Stella's 22, this is it. We have to figure this out because she's the driving force, you know what I mean? So we have to make it perfect. So she's 17 now. We have our time, but we want to start right away. We don't want to wait till Stella's 22. We want to have all this stuff. So by the time 5 years comes, it's a solid foundation where Harwich is now on the map for having an inclusive place for these individuals and families to go to.
Well, that's it. I mean, Jeff had it right. It's just a question of, I don't want you leaving the room feeling good and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
Because government moves kind of slow in the first place.
That's for sure. So
Slow and steady wins.
I just want to say that I can't thank you enough for your presentation. It's amazing. It's moving. And I can understand people being emotional because it's emotional, and we have such a wonderful community, and we have our wonderful children in that community, and they aren't always taken care of well, especially once 22 hits. So I guess down to the nitty-gritty of where you're going to go with this and what we can do to help you. You mentioned the 501c. You're creating that now? Are you in the midst of that? Because I know that's a process in and of itself. So that takes some time.
Started it, yep.
Okay. And then I guess the only other things that pop into my head is that the timing on, say, 204 Sisson because of the, and I'll look to the town administrator on that, because the cafeteria is not up and functioning to that level yet, I don't believe. And so there's, that's on the capital plan, I think, for, is it 2026?
I believe so.
Yeah. So there's some time there where you're talking about getting a foundation under you and whether or not, if the other kitchen could work temporarily while we start to get that stuff in order. There's that question I would have for you, in order to help you. And then I guess the only other things that pop into my head with this is, you know, in terms of conflict of interest, because you're at the school, so that's on you guys to talk to the school.
already
and
did.
Right, okay, great.
We
So,
actually have
perfect.
the special ed director, pupil personnel, whew, it's a mouthful. She wrote us a letter of support.
Oh, great.
So they
It's
are
in the
fully
file.
behind us.
Perfect.
Yes.
That's wonderful then. So I think you hear
Yeah.
from all of us that we love your idea.
Thank you.
Whatever we can figure out how to help you get there, and then staying in communication.
Thank
Yeah?
you. And Madam Chair, here's my ask. I'm asking for this board to support my request of our town administration to see to it that Shayna and Pauline get the assistance and the direction, the counsel, whatever they're looking for to try to make this go from a presentation to a reality. And, you know, we don't want you to go it alone anymore, right? This seems like an alone group. And I don't want you all to feel like you have to do this alone anymore. And I hope our town can step up, because you two have done an awful lot of work. And you've spent a lot of time and a lot of money, and it is apparent to me that we shouldn't let you down. And even though, as we spoke this morning and last week and on the phone and by text and all this, even though we understand, the three of us understand this is a real heavy lift. I mean, this is not a normal thing for a town or a community to do. And you understand that. You understand that we're going to do our best to see what we can do to make this happen. I'm going to pledge to you that I'm going to be with you every step of the way, and I will support not only you all, but I will support administration as well with any questions that you have, and I can be the go-between and the intermediary. But my request for this board is that we support the ask of town administration to work on this with these fine people.
Thanks, and I'm going to go to Joe on that.
Thank you. As town administrator,
I'm typically Mr. No. That's N-O. And then I ask, so what's your question? However, if I could put it back on the board, I don't need to be told. And it's not just the amazing presentations that were made this evening. Every year when I build our budget and work through you folks and tell everybody in this audience and at town meeting that our budget is a statement of our priorities, while our community and how we treat our children in it is a manifestation of how we are as a community. So to quote every rom-com and every, great story that was out there, yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. Administration and the town and the select board and everybody will help you. So you get a Go See Joe card, and what I would recommend is reach out to me, and certainly my team will get you on the calendar. There's a lot we can help you with, certainly when you talk about regulatory and all of that stuff, because that's the big bad government. We can certainly help you navigate. But of course, the answer is yes. The only correction I put out there is only one operating kitchen in the town right now, and that is not at 204 Sisson. So I wouldn't want you looking or waiting for that, but that doesn't stop us. So yes, and I'll give you the Go See Joe.
Sign that, we'll put it up on our wall, and so he does say
There we
yes.
go. All right.
That might be the only Go See Joe card out there right now, too, by the way.
Oh, there's far too many. So there's the signature, there's the contract. there's the-
Thank you, I love it, binding.
And I'm just going to go to Cindy Williams at the podium.
Who, unfortunately, I cannot speak clearly because I had oral surgery. I did ask someone to help me out here. Shana met with me last week and over the weekend, and she has our full support, but we've also been putting together what is done here on Thursdays with our community development team. Christine, Rachel and Carrie and I will all be meeting at my office since I'm still selling beach stickers with Shana and Pauline on Friday at 10 a.m. to go through what is normally done here because this is such an important project. I've also started to reach out to some of our members who may have some space for us for this project. So Shana and this group have the backing of the Harwich Chamber full force.
Wonderful. Thank you, Cindy.
Yep.
Madam Chair. So the 22-year cliff resonates with me. The town meeting gave us their blessing when they supported the use of 204 Sisson Road. And I believe we have a bunch of kitchen equipment that was donated by the tech school that is now in storage for 204 Sisson Road. And given, Shana, how many people that have reached out to you already, what a way to bring a community together. I don't think we wait till 2026. There's funds available now, and I would ask that the town administrator come back to us at our next meeting so that we don't lose any ground on this at all, and keep building off the excitement. But we have equipment. Sounds like we have an awful lot of volunteers.
We do.
We have space. We have space, and I think more and more volunteers. We just did it with South Harwich Meeting House. We did it with Bank Street Firehouse now, and there's no reason we can't do it with 204 Sisson Road. And I believe, and I would wait for the town administrator to bring back the language, town meeting's already given us the blessing to do this. It's been incredibly frustrating to me to watch and see how slow that building has come together, but what an opportunity now to lose that frustration. It's probably a blessing that we didn't dive in and do something else. But I think it would be realistic, Madam Chair, if we task the town administrator with the revolving fund and any other funds that may be available for that building, the blessing that we've already gotten, and come back and brainstorm ideas in the next couple of weeks so that we can shorten the gap on anyone's 22 years.
Thank you.
So we will be looking at this again, and we'll be talking and keeping in touch with you, and obviously you've got the full support of the board as well as our town administrator, Cindy Williams, so whatever we can do to help you drive it forward. Thank you for coming in tonight.
Now, you all have to stay for the next 2.5 hours.
You may want to give us a minute.
Yes, you can all stay or go if you choose. Thank you for being here.
They're voting, Jeff.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
Thank
you. Good night.
Yep.
Okay. So now we have our discussion on paint stewardship.
Paint stewardship.
Is that gentleman online?
Yes.
Is-
Yeah.
Okay. So, can we close? Yeah, thank you. We're going to move on to our discussion on the paint stewardship legislation for Massachusetts. And we have our presentation, I can't speak tonight, presenter online. So I will turn it over to you.
Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity to talk about paint stewardship, a bill that's currently being considered by the legislature. My name is Tom Irwin, and I live in Dalton. I'm a retired chemical engineer and primary care physician. And while I was a member of the Dalton Waste Management and Recycling Committee, I encountered the same problem that pretty much every other town, including Harwich, faces, which is no landfill, having to haul our waste out of state, and dealing with rapidly ever increasing hauling costs and tipping fees. And we were looking for a solution. And after a careful study of ways to address this issue, paint stewardship seemed like the perfect first step. And after it was confirming it was working well in the eyes of consumers and retailers in Vermont, New York, and Connecticut, became an advocate for this law. So what is paint stewardship? It's a program where unwanted paint can be returned to any participating paint retail store any day they're open, without a disposal cost, and without regard for where the paint was purchased. This program is voluntary for retailers and transfer stations. They may freely come and go from this program as suits their business and their needs. The cost to consumers is somewhere between 75 cents and $1 per gallon paid at time of purchase. The collected latex is hauled to reprocessing plants, reblended to like new condition, and sold for at most 50% of the original cost. The oil-based paints are most often used as a co-fuel in cement plants, outfitted with state-of-the-art effluent gas scrubber systems to prevent pollution. This program has been working well in 11 states, including our neighboring states of Connecticut, Rhode Island, Maine, Vermont, and New York. And recently, Maryland just signed on. The key benefits to Harwich will be primarily that it's going to be a service that your residents will value. This is apparent by noting that between 40% and 60% of the latex returned to Enfield, Connecticut's Sherwin-Williams store each week comes from Massachusetts residents. This is true of all paint retailers within 10 to 15 miles of any Massachusetts border of a state with this law. Also notable, 91% of nearly 1,000 Massachusetts residents dropping items off at household hazardous waste days signed petitions encouraging their legislators to become bill supporters. This suggests that 91% of Harwich residents with unwanted paint in their basements, and likely there are many, would support this law. Second, it'll present no cost to municipalities and will decrease household hazardous waste day costs by approximately 50%. And this will free RDP money to address other important solid waste issues. And third, it will be a model for future product stewardship legislation that will address additional larger items such as mattresses, solar panels, rechargeable lithium batteries, and packaging. The resolution being considered today is consistent with the state's plans. There is no arm twisting. The MMA is a supporter, as noted in their testimony to the Environment and Natural Resources Committee in June of 2023. The Mass DEP in their 2030 Solid Waste Master Plan calls out extended producer responsibility in general and paint DPR in particular as key contributors to moving the state towards its goal of zero waste. Of particular note, this master plan, using 2018 as a baseline, calls for a 30% reduction in waste by 2030 and a 90% reduction by 2050. And without stewardship programs, I can't imagine how we could possibly achieve this. Also good news, in addition to the state, there is broad support. Paint manufacturers and paint retailers who helped craft this law and didn't allow the law to become agreed upon until they had what they needed in it, support, obviously, having this law. In the legislature, 28 representatives and 12 senators from both sides of the aisle sponsor or co-sponsor this bill and are supporters. And there is support from over 70 municipalities to date that have passed similar resolutions or endorsements, with many more expected soon. So what are our next steps? House legislators commented that significant municipal support through 40 resolutions by mid-April was critical to demonstrate sufficient municipal priority to compel serious consideration of paint stewardship by the Ways and Means Committee. Fortunately, we've achieved this goal, but Ways and Means has considered but has not acted on this bill. Hence, to further improve the odds, as we must, that this bill is not only seriously considered, but also favorably viewed, we must strive for as many additional resolutions as possible. Therefore, with this need in mind, and since Harwich residents will appreciate this law, and since this law will save municipalities money, and since reducing waste is critical to our future, tonight I respectfully request the Harwich Select Board add their valued endorsement of paint stewardship by passing the supportive endorsement suggested. And I thank you for your attention and your consideration of this request, and would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go to board members for any questions they may have. Don?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess I'm just wondering why you would need legislation if this is a opt-in. If this was just something where the companies that carry paint could do just because they are wanting to do it, and they could go back to the distributor and their manufacturer and do it. It just seems, once you codify it, you're not really allowing people to opt in. It sounds like a pathway to, I'd love to get rid of a whole bunch of stuff on my property, I mean, more than just paint, but it doesn't seem that there's any connection between this and the small businesses that do it, because they're going to have to turn around and do something with it themselves.
With the small businesses, what they'll do is they just put it in totes. They call a national company that handles the paint after it's collected. They get an empty tote and a full tote's taken away. They have nothing more to do. And the small retailer actually is able to get rid of all the odds and ends that they have in their store at no cost. They see an increased degree of foot traffic, which is what I heard repeatedly when I visited retailers in adjacent states with the law. And so the program ends up working out extremely well. To address your other concern is, well, why do we have to have a law if everybody's so much on board? And the answer is because an antitrust suit can be brought against the Paint Care, which is the entity that does all the hauling and reprocessing, because they do collect that 75 cents. And the antitrust case, even if it was frivolous, would bankrupt Paint Care and destroy the system. So it is for that reason only, that the law is basically put in place.
Yeah, but then, through you, Madam Chair, it would seem the logical thing to do would be to create legislation to absolve them from antitrust problems. You're going about this in a completely opposite direction. If the paint stores were all in favor of this, and I don't get me wrong, I recycle my paint at the transfer station all the time. It's a facile way to offload a cost from the town onto local business people. If the only concern is the antitrust concern, why aren't you legislating that away?
In the legislation, that is what the legislation does. It also gives structure to, the responsibilities of Paint Care. It allows for, it requires that Paint Care get an audit from a third party each year to prove that they're operating as a nonprofit, which the Mass DEP would then check themselves to confirm each year. It puts responsibility on paint manufacturers to have educational materials to help folks understand how to minimize the amount of paint they buy so they don't have so much overage. It's, you know, it's an agreement that basically, it's kind of like a marriage, where you've already got the whole thing already agreed on, all parties are happy with it, and you just get it formalized. There is that section of law and a piece that keeps them off the hook when it comes to the antitrust.
You all set, Don? Jeff?
I have nothing right now, Madam Chair.
Michael?
I'd need to do a lot more homework. It seems Retailers Association of Mass was against this. I talked to a paint store today in another town as I passed through. They were against it. It seems the Chamber of Commerce in Massachusetts does not support this. We don't have a problem getting rid of our paint. And I didn't get the number today because the person that does it wasn't available, but it's a contract with 2 other towns through the county, and they take our paint. I'm assuming that they take that paint somewhere and do something with it also. But hazardous collection in Harwich, and as a small business owner, I couldn't imagine opening my door and say, bring your junk to my store and I'm gonna put it in a tote, and that sometimes somebody will come pick it up. If you're familiar with the Cape at all, people stuff their stores with stuff to try and make it through the cold months. So I don't support this at all right now, but certainly it was interesting reading, and I'll read more about it later.
Thank you, Michael. So I think that collectively, at this point, this was an educational presentation for us. If there's no motion, and if anyone wants to do any more research and bring it back, we certainly can. But Thomas, I thank you for the info, and the fact that it's voluntary, you know, I think that we do have sort of a unique situation here in Harwich where we do have a place to get rid of our paint, and ultimately we do have such a seasonal population that I think it does create a burden for some of our stores. So, in any case, thank you for your presentation, and if there's a reason for having you back, we will certainly be in touch.
Very good. Thank you.
Madam Chair? I move that we approve the amendments to the Personnel Bylaw Classification and Compensation Table as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
4-0, Joe. And does the vote, this item C, the vote to waive the town's right of first refusal.
If you're gonna do it, I gotta recuse myself.
So, well, A, they're not available tonight, but you may want to recuse yourself.
I don't want to be
because-
part of the
Yep.
discussion at all.
So Don's going to recuse himself because of his position on Hedge. But I think that, just earlier discussion, that we should maybe think about whether or not there's a larger discussion for this board on this item. Now, we're missing Pete tonight, but we could certainly bring this back and talk about whether or not we would like to exercise our right of first refusal and actually purchase 10 Driftwood. Michael?
Thank you. I guess, too, for Hetch, it'd be great to reach out to him and not get to purchase and sales before it comes to us,
Exactly.
to exercise our option. This has happened twice before.
Right.
And at $280,000 for a single-family house in East Harwich, when we're talking about a workforce crisis, sounds like a great deal for the town of Harwich to purchase.
Thank you, Michael. Jeff?
I agree with that.
All right, so I think we'll put this back on for 7:22.
Madam Chair, before you bring,
Oh, sorry.
is this something you'd want the trust to consider as well, given that they have an availability of funds?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. so-
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that we approve. Oh, Don,
I
hurry
thought
up.
he left.
Hurry up. I move that we approve a one-day wines and malt special permit application for the Cape Cottage Garden LLC. Event to be held at the 204 Sisson Road on July 14th, 2024, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
4-0.
I move that we approve a one-day wines and malt special permit application for Cape Cod Rugby Football Club. Event to be held at Community Center Fields, 100 Oak Street, on August 10th, 2024, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
4-0. Thank you, Jeff. And now we will go to old business. Item A, discussion on Seth Whitefield Road and Ron Cove paving. And Michael, I'll go to you because you brought this.
Madam Chair, thank you for putting this on. Conversation that we've had many times before. It seems to be the only road that continues to come back to ask to fill in potholes. So my request is simple. My request is not related to Bob Freitas or anyone else that lives on that road, although I have had support from property owners and homeowners. But it is more, that is the entrance to the park. We're blessed to have Hawks Nest State Park in our town, and it would be great if all residents can use it, not just those with lift kits and big tires. So I'll leave it at that and add more later based on the commentary. But the request is not to pave Hawks Nest Road. The request is to fill some trenches and some potholes.
Any other board members have, John?
Thank you, Madam Chair. There are a couple of things. The first one is, when we were putting in the sewer pipes on 137, apparently the folks up in the sky who were in charge of GPS figured out that that was an alternative route. And it was just full of cars. I mean, full of cars. And if we're going to facilitate, I mean, we've been, you'll forgive me with a pun, we've been down this road before. We had discussed this. There aren't any of the residents there that I can assess whether they really do want or don't want the road filled in to make it easier to traverse. It isn't the only way into Hawks Nest, by the way, Round Cove Road is. And absent any public sentiment that asks for this, I just think it's a natural attenuation of traffic. It fits right in with the environment that it delivers people to, the Hawks Nest State Park. And I see absolutely no reason to upgrade the road so that people can traverse it more easily, unless the residents come in here and say, I want to see that happen. I don't see a whole bunch of people there who were, okay, but we didn't pitch it that way. We didn't say, we're going to do this, you're all invited. I didn't know about this until Friday afternoon myself, so I will be voting against this.
Thank you, John. Jeff?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think if it would be okay with you, I'd like to reserve my right in case anybody from the public would like to speak, since I'm the only one sitting up on this board that has really no past history with this.
Hold on one second.
So for me, the bar is set pretty high in terms of reconsideration on my vote of no support at this point. The town has made it very clear that it is buildable. Our fire department has made it clear that it's buildable. A previous board has voted unanimously to not support it back in 2019. It was adjudicated and dismissed, and that's a pretty high bar for me to reconsider why we would then now bring this back up. But I'd love to hear some public comment.
Yeah, well, I think.
Or board.
Yeah, I think that I can speak to one thing is that, and that's why I've said it, I think, 3 times now tonight about trying to clarify about the potholes and maintenance, because I had a barrage of emails against anything being done on either road. I did go down there. I went down there, I don't know, a couple weeks ago in my RAV4. That's all I have. I don't have a truck or anything. And I was able to get through there just fine. Matter of fact, I would say it was far better than my last experience back in 2019, I think it was, or 2018. And my understanding too is that, in terms of getting to the pond, I know that that road can get fairly beat up, but I believe the state made some improvements. Is that right, Link? Thank you. And fire and police have made it clear that they can get down there if needed. So I would not be in favor of any improvements, but you certainly can speak.
Madam Chair, just a couple corrections. I'd never voted in 2019 not to support fixing that road. And no, Jeff did. And we have fixed that road in the past. The town has maintained that. It really wasn't until the lawsuit with Bob Freitas that it grew attention. That I would disagree, and I can't wait to hear what the residents say about passable. To the Round Cove point, those neighbors did come out in the past and say they were not a favor of making that road bigger for more cars. Seth Whitefield Road is a two-lane road. So the majority property owner out there did make it a two-lane road, so that is the desired way into the park. And I will never understand why we wouldn't want that asset opened up to the public. And I'd further by saying, we do the same thing on Bell's Neck Road, and that's a cut-through from Harwich Center to West Harwich. I'm in there a lot, too. People don't race down that road. People go through to enjoy Bell's Neck. So why are we doing one precedent, one place, and completely another in another place? And I really will never understand why we have to have the Board of Selectmen meetings to talk about maintaining a town road.
So will we also have an adjudicated lawsuit that shows that we don't have to maintain that road?
No, we don't have to.
So-
Say that. It's the right thing to do.
I'd just like to
Sure,
ask a
go
quick
ahead.
question. To your point, Michael, when I drove down there the other day, there was a huge pile of T-base
Before you get to Raptor Road.
before you get into Raptor Road.
So we are still maintaining that section.
I'm just wondering who put the T-base there and why is it there? And Link, would you like to step up to the mic and?
I was acknowledging that it was us.
Okay, so, yeah, because I have a couple of questions about that, because it could certainly weigh into my thinking here. Thank you, Link, for being here, and if I may, Madam Chair, through you.
Sure.
There is a big pile of T-base, as you heard. How did that get there, when did that get there, and what's it being used for?
There is no longer a pile of, first of all, Link Cooper, DPW Director. There's no longer a pile of T-base there. We used that, it was spread, I think, late last week or possibly today. I drove down there on my way home this evening, both Seth Whitefield and then out Round Cove, in my RAV4 as well. We maintain from Queen Anne Road up to Raptor Road. That was done with Mr. Freitas and a license agreement with the planning board. Back in 2000, the last work we did outside of that was after the public hearing that was held with the Board of Selectmen. They said, go fix this road once. We did that. We did both the state portion going down to the pond as well as Round Cove and some minor stuff on Seth Whitefield. We have not done anything from Raptor Road to Round Cove on Seth Whitefield. The last I knew, there was a lawsuit. I heard just recently that it was dismissed. I didn't know what the status of that was. So I have had a request from some new property owners that happen to be in the room to fill some minor potholes and kind of a trench on the side of the road on Seth Whitefield between Round Cove and Raptor. It's not a very long piece that we're talking about, maybe a tenth of a mile. But my last directive from the board was do this once off and don't do anything else.
Right, thank you. Did you want to speak?
Yes.
Just make sure you state your name, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Beth Wilson. I'm here with my husband tonight, Philip Wilson. We purchased 171 Hawks Nest Road 2 years ago, and it is in that portion that's past Raptor Road. I know sometimes we say Seth Whitefield, sometimes we say Hawks Nest. It's all the same. But we are now building a house. We've just started building a house on that portion of Hawks Nest past Raptor. Our builder has asked if we can get those filled in. Their building will go on for 12 to 14 months or so. So I think things have changed on that road. Now, we are going to be living there. That's going to be our full-time, year-round residence. We will be residents. We're actually, obviously taxpayers. So I think things have changed on that part of Seth Whitefield, Hawks Nest Road. Not only have we building a house there, again, our year-round residence, but our neighbor, Anthea Fava, who is here too, already has a house. I don't know, Anthea, if you want to speak or not. But I think that the nature has changed now, that these houses are being built on that part of Hawks Nest. Today, where you see the SH, that is our neighbor in between the Wilsons and the Favas. That's Susan and Matt Howland. They're on the call today virtually, so they're going to be building a house in between us. And then, is James, are you James? Oh, James is also our other neighbor. So there's 4 of us. So Wilson, Fava, Holland, and Rosato are all going to be building homes or have already built a home in that area. So I think the nature of that road has really changed a lot. It's for residents now as well. You're shaking your head.
Well, there's also a license agreement by the developer, and I don't know the status of, the full status of that license agreement and whether or not all of the requirements have been met. So that's probably why you're shaking your head.
Through you, Madam Chair, the reason I'm just, shaking my head is going into the building, that was the deal. We voted to not upgrade the road. And the developer probably should have told you that. This was an entranceway to a state national park that we were trying to keep in a natural habitat as much as possible. That much hasn't changed. Hawks Nest is really the destination for that road. I get that you're building something there, but it's somewhat like people who buy homes on private cul-de-sacs and the road needs to be upgraded. It's not a town responsibility. That was the whole gist of the state lawsuit that said we were obligated to fix the road, and the state adjudicated that we weren't. And if indeed that was not conveyed to you, I apologize, not for us, but for the builder who didn't tell you that that was what you were entering into, and it preceded your buying that property to build anything. If we were going to do this, my point before was, we had a full-blown hearing. There were people from all over that area who got to opine on this. And this is not the way to change that, because that was a considerable debate that happened. There was a lawsuit that happened. I mean, there's a lot that's preceded this request. And to undo that, the only way I can see that happening is by doing it in exactly the same way, with a hearing, not just because a few people who were buying the properties to develop come and ask for that to happen. It was much greater than that. It was always much greater than that.
Okay. So then our next step would be to have a hearing with.
That would be if this board were to bring that back.
To entertain it.
But, you
Okay.
know, I don't know that that's currently on for
Okay.
the board.
Anthony,
Is there-
did you want to speak? Yeah.
Good evening. Anthony Fava, 181 Hawksnest Road. The lot that we purchased was not a part of Bob Freitas's development. It was just a lot that was available, and you know, we built a home on it for our family. I have 3 young kids. We love the area. It's a beautiful, it's a treasure, you know, that state forest there. So I think, you know, maintaining that road, not upgrading it in any way other than to make it safer for travel. You know, again, we were just talking a few moments ago about helping children out. I mean, if there was ever an emergency and you know, an ambulance or a fire truck had to come down Round Cove, I'm not even asking for Round Cove, but Hawks Nest, it can be a little tricky at times. We were down here for the storm over Valentine's Day. I think we had close to 8 to 12 inches of snow, and even in our SUVs, it was very difficult to get down that road. My understanding that this is not a private way, right? It was a county road, and I believe that the town has taken over ownership from the county. Is that correct?
No,
Is that not correct?
no.
Okay, so who really owns the road then? Because if it's the county still, then it was a county layout per the surveyor. You know, is it the county that should be maintaining it? You know, there should be some maintenance there because it doesn't seem to be a private way. It definitely is usable by the public.
Yeah,
So-
it's not a town. So there are many roads in town that are private roads that are even paved that aren't town-owned.
Sure, I
You
understand.
know,
Yeah,
and to the point of the drainage, for example, if we have a subdivision and there's stormwater drainage, you know, they'll come to us, we have to approve it, but we don't maintain it. it's their responsibility to design it properly, and then that homeowners association would have to, maintain that, not to get off track, but just to explain. So it may come under our purview, doesn't mean we have the responsibility to maintain it.
Okay. All right, well, I would just ask that you guys take a closer look at this, make it a little bit safer for travel, now that we have a number of owners living in this stretch. And it is a little weird that it's only maintained up to Raptor Road. And I've been down there for like 3 years now, either building the house or with my family, and that stretch usually gets cleaned up every maybe 3 to 4 months. There was that pile of T-base. It was a much bigger pile, but that's what they've been using to kind of smooth out that road, that section. So it's just a little weird that it's only getting maintained up to Raptor. So.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else wanted to speak?
Just for clarification, it is not a county road.
It's not a town road.
Okay, but it's not a county road. I just wanted to answer his question. It's not a county road. County does not own roads anymore.
Right, but the town doesn't own it.
I
either.
hear you, Julie.
I'm just making the
I hear you.
clarification.
Oh, look, a new microphone. I'm Peggy Gabor, a Hawks Nest aficionado or something. I've been involved with this for quite a while. I attended both court hearings. It is a county road, as indicated by Superior Court Judge in Barnstable, who oversees the real estate courses. The history of this road, as we left it, I believe at the hearing, when it was presented that the developer did not complete his contract with the town, that he agreed to with the planning board in setting out the road and all the lots that he wanted to build on and blah, 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 that he was going to maintain the road, that we kind of left it with, he didn't fulfill the contract of maintaining the road from Raptor to the corner of Round Cove, which is what he was supposed to do. And he never fulfilled it. So after the hearing, I think everyone kind of said to him, you're going to have to take care of the road. You want something done, you're going to have to take care of the road. And so he was supposed to, and Link was dropping off all kinds of stuff to him to do his section up to Raptor Road. But he, in fact, was supposed to be maintaining the road with some gravel, pit gravel. That he never did to this day. So hence, the court case happened. He appealed it. It got dismissed in the Court of Appeals in Boston. And the judge just kind of said, well, go to Barnstable Commission. Ask them about your road. If you want the road, you can negotiate with them on something and buy it. Do whatever you can there, but, the town does not have to do anything. So he's supposed to do the road. He's supposed to gravel it. He's supposed to maintain it. And obviously he hasn't, but he didn't fulfill the contract. So I'm going to say for what the judge asked him, because he wanted the town to do the road, and the judge said, how many accidents have occurred on the road? Police chief, you're here. How many accidents have occurred on South Whitefield Road?
I can't answer that right now.
Oh, that's a good answer. Well, the developer said there haven't been any accidents. And then the judge said, well, how many injuries have occurred that you've been involved with? Well, there were no injuries. At the time also, the ambulance and the fire department verified that both roads were safe. We have a massive new, I don't know what you want to call it, gargantuan fire thing that could go through whatever. They all testified at the hearing with the town here that yes, they could get down that road without a problem. They could get down to, through the park very easily. So there is no injury, there's no nothing. Getting to the front of the park, the state owns the park. If they want to enhance the front of their park, they are allowed to do that. It isn't up to the town of Harwich to enhance the front of the state park. They would want to do it if they wanted, they would do it if they wanted to do it. It's their option, it's their property.
And they have made some improvements, the state
And they have
has.
made some improvements.
Yeah, they have.
Now, I drove both roads today myself in my little, what do I have?
Don't tell us it's a
A
RAV4.
little, no, not a Rave. Rave would be too fancy. I've got a low-lying Versa. And I mean, I've gone up and down that road through whatever. And today I went up because of this hearing, and I went through both roads, clear as could be, without a problem. You know, they are dirt roads. That county road has been there, it's on old historical Barnstable maps. You know, I guess in hearing you, I'm sorry that he did not tell you what was going on with the road.
So I think we've established that, you know, the road is supposed to be maintained, and I think we've had public
Yeah, I
comment.
mean, he's supposed to, you know, so if it's gravel, he should have put it down and helped you.
So, thank you, Peggy.
All right.
Just to clarify a few things here. Mr. Freitas had a license agreement with the planning board to improve that first section from basically his house to Raptor Road. He did that. We were involved. We did not provide any materials. He paid for that himself. He widened the whole road. He put the T-base down. We inspected, said, yes, planning board. He followed through. That was accepted. We maintain it from that point on. The point from Raptor Road to Round Cove was never finished by Mr. Freitas, and I was not given any further directive from this board to do anything else out there.
Right.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, one question for Link while he's standing. Link, as the highway engineer, can you tell me whether or not the county owns any roads?
Through you, Madam Chair, I'm not an engineer by trade, but thank you. And I'm not an attorney. I do not believe the county owns any roads. I believe at some point in the past, in the 50s or something, I think they were all dismantled, but that's just my speculation.
Yeah, there is a document that exists with the date the county got rid of all the roads and gave them to the towns. And then, just for point of clarification, again, this is not about Bob Freitas. This is about your 4 taxpayers in the room tonight that are asking the Board of Selectmen if we'll fill some potholes and fix a trench. And I believe Link said that that's a minimal amount of work. So that's the ask. Clearly, there's differences of opinion. But this is not about Bob Freitas. This is about some taxpayers that are in the room and have requested that we fix some potholes. Clearly, we don't have the support, so I will see if the residents have the appetite for a public hearing, and we can bring this topic back.
Okay. Patrick?
Hello, Patrick Otten again, East Harwich. I regularly go to Hawks Nest. Sometimes I ride my bicycle. And I drive a 2007 Honda Odyssey with over 250,000 miles on it. The suspension is 100% shot. If I hit a bump, I don't stop shaking. I have no difficulty, never have had a difficulty. So I want to correct the statement that high-wheeling trucks are the only vehicle that can go through there. False. I have a completely worn-out vehicle, and I have no problems. So thank you.
Maybe that's why it's worn out.
Okay, so we will move on to discussion on goals and objectives. And let's say if you look to the document that I gave you all, the hard copy of the priorities. This has also been emailed and shared, so I just printed it in case that was easier for any of you to read. And this includes John and Pete's financial breakdown, the number 28. John, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I don't want to be a drag on anything, but I know Pete had asked specifically not to take any action on anything tonight without him being here. I personally feel the same way without him being here, and I would vote against any action that we wanted to take. I'm perfectly fine with having a discussion, but if we're going to do this, we should be doing it together so that we don't wind up having our own sub-goals depending on what part of the board you're talking about.
Well, the only problem with that, thank you for that reminder, I meant to say that in the beginning. The only problem with that is that we then don't meet till July 22nd. And so, other than this, the financial analysis that he shared, which I think both of you, worked on, and all the other items were already listed as priorities prior to us going into this meeting. So I guess my question would be, why would there be any reason to change anything? Because the top ones we agreed upon, the financial one was the one we were waiting for. So I'll open it up to the board. So I hear you and your comment. Do you have other comments?
Yeah, one other comment. I mean, I was just wondering what the objective is, to do it fast or do it right. And to be honest with you, we did, but we didn't actually assemble our priorities. We aggregated downward, but we still haven't achieved where we wanted to go. I know Pete's got some thoughts on them. I have some thoughts on them, and this is one of those areas where, yeah, sure, we can act on other things with less than a full board, but these are goals and objectives that we are projecting forward for the whole year for the whole board to have voted on, and that's where I'm at.
I don't disagree with you. That's why I was saying is that, the only reason I was entertaining an opposite position was because we had identified those, and the only other one we were adding was the one that Pete and you shared.
I thought we were going to compress downward. That was...
Well, we were going to drill down on the actions and deliverables. Do either of you have any comments or want to add any?
Madam Chair, I'd support these goals as written, and I think actions and deliverables would be another one. I did also speak to Pete, knowing that he was going to go away. The financial analysis one that Don and he put together, the only one we haven't looked at.
Right.
We could kick this can down the road as long as we want, but until we get this in place, we don't have anything to score a town administrator on, and to wait another 2 weeks for this when no comments, and I guess I would look to Select Board Member Howell on the first 9, financial, he was directly involved with writing, on the first 9, and maybe if he gave me some context of where they were lacking, maybe I could support waiting. But in my conversation with Pete, and in 2 weeks ago, when we met on this, there's no comments on them. So how long are we gonna go with no comments so that we can have 5 people here to vote on it? And if we voted on them tonight, and Pete took exception to that, we could do a motion to reconsider and we can change anything we want. But without some direction, and Select Board Member Howell just acknowledged that he has some comments, I'd like to hear those. Because otherwise, we just keep talking. It was last week when we just started firing off numbers that we even got to this point. It's fairly dysfunctional.
Thank you. Don, did you have any comments back?
That's why I wanted to have the discussion with everybody. To be honest with you, there's a hodgepodge of narrowly defined things and more universal goals that can actually be transferred for this year to next year, the year after, because they're basically universal goals that we're looking to do.
And just to be clear, I did share with Pete that I would bring that to the board, but he understood if we didn't want to wait, so just to be clear.
That's not the conversation I had with him.
Because I explained that it would be up to the board, and he said understood. And to Michael's point, if there's something he's not happy with, we can certainly bring it back.
In my experience, that never happens.
Well, if Pete has any issue with it, I'd be happy to bring it back.
Just to move this along, Don, is there anything, you mentioned a hodgepodge of things, like what? Because we've now met on this 4 times and we've gotten absolutely nowhere.
And I guess just to follow up on that, not that I take offense to hodgepodge, but
I would. I'm just saying,
at this point, a month into this and drafting and drilling down, I would say that we pretty clearly identified Monomoy as a first top priority discussion, department assessments, owners unknown, improved annual town meeting schedule, improved communication, uniform process to streamline procedures, the sewer, owner's contractor, and public education and ongoing funding, update board policies, which is up to us to figure out what we want to do, along with the town administrator to guide us. Finance, which was develop the budget, a budget that balances needs with available funds, capital planning, operating budget, and then that was drilled down further into the information shared, which was extensive and specific. So I think that was a good one, too. It goes into financial analysis, financial reporting, the frequency at which the different reports. So beyond these, which is why I also gave you the other items that we didn't touch upon, but just so that you had them for reference, which I've already handed out. And it's that last, this page, that just gives you the stuff that we didn't put in, called others. And those were things like agenda items, all requests to be added, final say for agenda, blah, 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 which we've incorporated into these other items. Even the free cash policy has been brought in, so.
The one that I would like a lot more information about has to do with the owner's unknown and exactly what we're doing to get into that and the legality of it before we make it a goal.
The owner's unknown before we make it a goal, but it's been an ongoing.
To clear it up, but to actually sell them is a whole different story.
Oh, I mean, we can, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Don, explain to me what you mean by actually sell them.
Are you saying that we're just going to hold on to all the properties once we clean up the titles?
So my only sense of this and the town administrators, as far as I'm concerned, and we did tackle this a few weeks ago, thank you, and I have done some work. The only town administrator action on this is gonna be by way of getting the procurement done. Selling them done is gonna be, I think, future Board of Selectmen conversations, because I think on a lot of these, like the real estate and open space ones, they made recommendations. We haven't accepted their recommendations yet, but that will be board meetings later. For me, right now, it really is just a continuance of everything that we've talked about for the last 2 years and trying to clear them up and own them and then decide what we're gonna do with them.
Then can we tag that, because procurement's just hanging out there as a word, can we tag that as a procurement to abstract the properties as opposed to selling them?
Yes, and that would be, procurement would be town administrator's responsibility.
It's
A lot of
on
the other ones would be
it says it.
Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, like I said, to abstract where the title chain goes.
It says TA to do procurement.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's,
Fine.
there's a lot of different kinds of procurement. If that's what our goal is, I think it should be that specific.
And I just wanted to be clear that that's not the only action item on that, Madam Chair. The action item on that is global. It's everything that we've talked about for a long time. TA's responsibility would be the procurement for the title.
Right.
But I do plan on doing a lot more work. If you want me to define what we'll do, I don't mind defining that out even at a later date. But to Don's point, if he would feel more comfortable moving that one forward with that line in there, I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah, because it's in there, so. And the only other thing I would say on this is that there, as we go through these and the actions and deliverables, as we discuss them, I mean, I think we can better refine them as we move forward, but we need to figure out, are these the goals and objectives? And what exactly are the actions and deliverables? So, do you feel comfortable moving forward like that? And then if there's any reason that Pete has any question, we can certainly bring back any particular item that he wanted to.
That was the specific one, but if we're going to be discussing everything, then Pete and I were kind of married to the financial stuff. One's global, one's a mechanism within a given time frame for how the board gets informed about where we are in various financial things. And the reason that we felt that way, on the global one, I mean, in talking some of the financial people, both on the FinCom, one or two of the capital outlay people, we don't have, and we've never had a discussion all in what it looks like for our capacity to absorb capital projects and increased operational needs, including contract negotiations, where what do we have as a capacity to pay, and where are we going with this over a 4 or 5 year period? We've never had that discussion, and I think it's really important to have that discussion. Even if we can't arrive in the 5th year at the same goal, there's an awful lot of boards that do that. It has to do with financial capacity, and I think it's really, I strongly urge you, and Pete did too, that we look at that globally. As a town, what can we afford? What can the taxpayers afford? Because the reality is, and that comes out in the reporting too, the reality is you go to town meeting, we approve certain projects, in the meantime, they're not borrowed. So 2 years down the road, the taxpayers have no idea that they're going to be in for an additional tax payment, and they don't pay for it out of their left pocket or right pocket. They pay for it out of their total tax bill, and they pay for it globally.
But that is all, in this financial reporting, it's, he's got all that in here, provide
we,
status.
that was mine.
You both, I'm just saying, he emailed it to me. I just meant
But that aligns with that capital, with
But
that
I'm saying
5-year discussion.
None of this language was changed. All of it is exactly what Pete
No,
shared.
I'm just pitching for it.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that provide status updates on approved capital projects and major procurements as they relate to the original scheduled deliverable. Analysis will include the project and end costs recently completed. So it goes on, sorry, I just skipped a line.
No, and you're right, but that ties into the more global one, which is the 5-year forecast.
Yeah, and that's the first, provide the
Yeah.
board with the 5-year
And
financial
the rest of them are
forecast that
implementation
incorporates.
actions.
Yeah, and it talks about incorporating the current debt obligations, the approved future obligations, and the recommendations, and the additional operation and capital expenses. So I think it's a fairly comprehensive breakdown on the financial piece, I would say.
I'm not arguing
it's-
it, that's my sales pitch.
No, I know, I'm just saying, I'm saying it's more than we probably have had in the past. So, having said that, you agree with that, there's nothing in there, I don't hear either of you looking to change any of that language, correct?
No.
So then, that one stays as is, and the others, we already talked about with Pete here as being priorities. So again, I feel the same, I hate to wait till the 22nd to move forward so that we can at least establish our goals and priorities, and if there's any issue with anything and Pete wants to reconsider, we certainly can.
With that promise, I'd be willing to go forward.
Okay, so then, unless there's any more discussion, can I get a motion?
I move that we accept the goals and objectives as presented in tonight's packet.
On the priorities list?
The priorities.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, called the priorities.
I'm sorry, correct. That's what I said in my motion, the priorities list, as presented in the packet.
Perfect.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. 4-0. Okay, and then Dawn, item C.
We're still where we're at. Michael, can we talk about that on Wednesday, just to button it down? Because he hasn't had the opportunity to get back to me with the language. I really, and he knows how I feel, I really want to make this a unanimously accepted language. He's got some reticence. I think that we can work this out. I said that before, but it's been really busy for him and for me.
So that'll come back on the 22nd?
Yes.
Okay. Contracts? Joe? Is there anything you want to go over, or do you?
I would recommend approval of all that you have in the packet,
Thank you.
and can certainly answer any questions or try.
Motions, Madam Chair?
Yes.
I move that we approve a memorandum of agreement, MOA, with the Town of Orleans Council on Aging Supportive Day Program and vote to authorize the chair to sign.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0.
Move that we approve a memorandum of agreement, an MOA, with the Serving the Health Insurance Needs of Everyone, SHINE, program, and vote to authorize the chair to sign.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
4-0.
I move that we approve a contract with Colonial Municipal Group for a fire department F-350 in the amount of $87,480.51.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. I move that we approve a contract with Axon Enterprise, Inc. for police department tasers. Yeah, cool. In the amount of $152,158.80.
Second. Maybe we could get their old ones for the table?
Well, I volunteer you to be tased.
All right, moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Town Administrator's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, another contract to announce. So this is a contract for $23,031.19. It's with Partners Technology LLC, and the purpose of the contract is to, for the purchase and installation of phone systems in the police dispatch station that is replacing outdated software and hardware. The upgrade was necessitated by making sure we integrate now with Microsoft Office 365 and improving the reliability of 911 calls. So again, that brings the police dispatch up to speed with everything else. And as you may recall, the funding from this came from the 2023 annual town meeting, Article 16, which is the ongoing technology reinvestment. And then the only other thing, Madam Chair, members of the board, is just congratulations to our chief, Chief Considine, or perhaps we should say good luck to our Chief Considine, and congratulations to our friend and colleague, Dave Gilmet, and certainly to Dave and his wife, Jean. Many, 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 many years of happiness and joy in their shared time together. So thank you, Chief Gilmet.
Thank you.
That concludes my report.
Don?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a little bit more than what Joe said. We were all up here at the table at that ceremony. It was an extraordinary day. As it's been reported, it's been 24 years since we promoted from within. It also allowed 3 other promotions to happen. We sent a message loud and clear. If you really work hard, if you get educated and you do your job and you're dedicated to the force, the sky's the limit, and we will recognize that effort. So I was just heartened by that as a day that was a remarkable day in our town's history.
Thank you, Don. Jeff?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And the only question I would ask, I don't want to lose sight of this, is FinCom has requested email addresses for their entire,
Yeah.
right? And if I remember right, Joe, you had mentioned something about after the fiscal year closed and moving into the new fiscal year, the funds would be available to begin doing that process. I just want to make sure I have it right.
That's correct. The expansion of email addresses for all boards, commissions, and committees, which would certainly include Finance Committee, was a fiscal year '25 capital item, technology reinvestment. However, our IT Director, Sarah Eden, was already working on that proposal, waiting for the funding. So I will work with her upon her return from vacation to get a project plan timeline on that.
Great.
But that is expected to be a fiscal year '25, and hopefully sooner rather than later accomplishment.
Don just had a follow-up.
Just one follow-up, Jeff, for this. Have we worked out, because I know this has been a concern for like last year and a half, have we worked out if that becomes universally available, how we'd have some internal control so that we don't wind up with people doing offline deliberations through their emails? Because that's an awful lot of people that we're going to wind up giving email addresses to.
In the short term, I'll say perhaps. I know that we do training through the town clerk's office, through administration and the open meeting law. We will certainly remind everybody of their obligations under the law with those email addresses. They are not expected to be unique identities. If you think of it as an example, you could have Finance Committee Chair at, Finance Committee Vice, etc. So it could be committee name, chair, member 1, 2, 3, whatever you get to.
I'm not even
But
sure if there is a mechanism
The
that's
IT
possible.
director may know of it, and if she does, she'll tell me and I'll tell you.
Jet.
I had one more, I forgot it, Don interrupted me.
Well, it could have been Michael that interrupted you.
Michael.
Just to reiterate the comments made about the swearing-in ceremony and changing of guard, it was an awesome day. Law enforcement, people from all over the Cape and state police and many, many members of the public. Just a couple of follow-ups. I'd like to get an update. The wastewater contract that we tabled a few weeks ago, are we rewriting that? Is that?
With lines of authority changes.
Yeah, well, the money part of it was part of it, but duplication and work was the other part. I'm just trying to
Right.
figure out
I
when
don't
we're
think-
gonna see that one.
So I think, and I will follow up with Joe on that, but I think that it was a duplication, so.
Okay, land of low value, I'd like to get an update on that. Credit card processing, I wrote it down, payment online.
It's
for-
the MyRec, and I just got an email just tonight on that, so I haven't even read it yet.
Okay, maybe we can expand that into a conversation about maybe taking credit cards at the dump and other parts of town as well.
Well, the one thing I've learned from this credit card thing is that it would be nice to have a uniformed credit card thing, because every department has like their own thing.
Yeah, that'd be a great conversation and an article. And then lastly, request that next week's agenda that we
The 22nd.
next, 22nd, next meeting, the land on Queen Anne Road that town meeting voted to sell. I'd like to have the procurement started on that, but more importantly, the board to vote the minimums to go into that procurement. The meeting won't be till the 22nd, and if we wait much longer, it's gonna be the end of the summer, and there's summer people here that would be interested possibly in those lots. It's time to get them on the market. And I think that's it.
Madam Chair, through you, if I
Thank
could.
you. Yeah.
Those are the 3 properties at town meeting?
The 3
On the
Queen Anne, yeah.
Yep, thank you.
I would just reiterate that congratulations to Chief Considine again, and congrats to outgoing Chief Gilmet. I'm completely jealous of him, no offense, Kevin. And it was an amazing day, it was great, you guys did a great event, so, thank you. Can I get a-
Adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.